So my next guest today is Camille Seibert. She is the regional sales manager now, are you, on the selective soldering and the dispensing products?
Correct.
Okay. So nice to see you again, Camille. You're one of these people that started off on the technical side in R&D and moved over to the dark side of sales, but your knowledge is actually pretty good. So let's look at what happened on some of the new innovations at Nordson. Tell us first of all, about your selective soldering systems. You have recently introduced a fairly new suite of Synchro 3 or Synchro 5 selective soldering systems. What are the differences between the two, and what are the key features?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you first off for having me here again. So as you mentioned, we've introduced some new equipment on our selective soldering side. So we have kind of two new products that we've introduced. The Synchro 5 we introduced a couple years ago, and the Synchro 3 is a new addition to the line. And these two products really take selective soldering to a level that hasn't really been seen before in the industry. And a large part of what these two systems do, they work continuously, so boards never stop within the system. So as a single module, a single Synchro 5 or a single Synchro 3 can replace either 4 soldering modules or batch modules, or the Synchro 5 can replace up to like 7 modules. So that's really saving our customers a lot of floor space.
So this is obviously targeted to the high volume market.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So when you say it's going continuously, you've got 3 pots and you've got 5 pots. So you're basically able to do multiple boards at one time.
Correct. So with the setup on the Synchro 3, there are 3 potting stations, and on the Synchro 5, there are 5 potting stations. And so this really allows for maximum flexibility of the system. So it can either continuously take boards without even needing to stop or needing the first one to be done before you move on to the second one, or it can even actually take really large boards and you're not constrained by a specific work area. Right. Because the way the system works and the way the software is designed to work is that you take your board and you program the areas that you want the selective soldering. And within the software, there really is basically an easy button, and then the software itself automatically distributes that program across the different stations to really balance the line and optimize your throughput.
Right. Okay. Interesting. So, so you also have some methodology for controlling the wave height
Correct.
In there. How does that work?
So it's a vision-based verification. So there's a target wave height, and the system will monitor and verify that wave height is staying within target, and it will make minor adjustments if it needs to make sure that system stays balanced. This is obviously critical to making sure that you're getting a consistent solder dispense from board to board to board. Okay.
And so to keep these, I mean, obviously 3 pots or 5 pots, is very large capacity. How do you keep them filled up? How do you keep them running?
So this is actually one of my favorite parts about the system. So there's actually a little trolley that runs along the back of the system, and it's able to continuously refill the pots. And what I mean by that is as the board is moving through the system and your little pots are moving, when one pot has a second of downtime, it can go over, and the little trolley has the solder components that it will go and drop in and refill those pots. Wow. So the system really does not
So you could
stop.
do 24/7.
You can keep going.
Wow.
And going.
Wow.
And going.
And going. Great. So what's the maximum board size?
Good question. As far as like length goes, there really aren't too many restrictions as far as what goes into that. The systems are they have their limits, but as far as covering the entire board length goes, that's really largely determined by how the software breaks things up, and because we're on a continuous conveyor, it never really stops.
Right. Okay. So that's the Synchro 3 and Synchro 5. You've also made some recent introductions of a new dispensing system. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so our new introduction is on our conformal coating product line. So it's the SL1040, which is an advancement on our existing SL940, which has been around the industry for many, many years. And so from that perspective, it's very time tested, and over the years we've seen how the industry is changing. As we're including more of those higher viscosity materials that are in some ways a little bit more challenging to maintain than your acrylics.
Right.
There's an overall emphasis on how to improve maintenance. And as boards get more and more complicated and the system needs to be more and more sophisticated, the system has a higher degree of accuracy. It has the ability to accommodate multiple valve heads. So depending on what the board topography looks like, you can have wide spray applicators on the system. You can have narrow detailing applicators. They both mount on the system, and it still maintains that higher accuracy with that significantly heavy payload.
Right. So you're going to get tighter line definition.
Correct.
And you also, the other thing is going to try and reduce splashes and that type of thing coming off.
Absolutely. Yeah. So in the industry, there's definitely a push for reduced rework, and in some industries there is a requirement for absolutely no rework or retouch up.
Right.
So if you only get one chance to really do this board, you want to make sure that you have the right tools on the system to do it, and to do it well, and to do it right the first time. Right.
I mean, one of the things you want to try and limit as well is masking, because masking is a time-consuming business. So if you've got more tighter, more accurate valves to dispense, then you can get away with masking less.
Correct. Yeah. So with the SL1040 valve, with the SL1040 system, we also released a new valve called the SC450, and that one is intended to kind of round out our suite of applicators, and that one does a lot of the fine detailed work while still maintaining accessibility near those tight keep-out zones and tall components. And that one is specifically intended to focus on some of the higher viscosity conformal coating fluids. So really a good balance of both wide pass applicators, narrow applicators that really maintain that accessibility. So it doesn't matter if you're dispensing near tall components, or if you have tight keep out zones with increased board density, or if you have larger boards and you need to cover a lot of area really quickly. It's really a balance of those tools, and the 1040 is able to accommodate those really well.
So what happens then with you? Do you have a separate curing oven that you offer, or you did offer? Or
we do. We do have curing technology as well. So the UV curing, and then also some of the TC heat curing as well.
Okay. You don't do anything on the inspection side, do you?
We don't specifically do anything.
As a separate function.
Yeah, we have a separate division within Nordson that handles that technology.
Yeah. Okay, great. So, just to recap, the conformal coating system was called the SL1040.
The SL1040.
1040. Okay, great.
It's April. Think of taxes.
Sorry?
I said it's April. Think of taxes.
Yeah, okay.
But it's much more enjoyable than taxes.
Great. Well, anyway, as always, lovely to see you again, Camille, and thank you for coming in and telling us about these systems today.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Without reliability, with reliability. A world of difference. Welcome on the journey to better reliability outcomes.